Hi everybody, welcome to the Zoom meeting for our remote day here. I had a live session but no one unfortunately showed up to the meeting, so I'm recording this so you have this information just in case you check it out later. If you go into the excuse me, you should see my dot here hovering on the screen, and what that's going to do is that's going to kind of show you where my finger, so to speak, is. This will help just sort of keep everything so you can kind of see what I'm doing. So if you go into this folder, this is where the Zoom information is. Obviously that link we tried out yesterday in class. That'll be there for you as long as the schedule for the day. It is the same exact schedule we normally follow in a school day. So, nothing hopefully world-endingly different. So if you go back to today's folder, there's going to be a lesson overview. The lesson overview gives you some objectives and an agenda, just sort of telling you what the day's objectives are. So obviously here we are right here doing the Zoom meeting. We're going to talk a little bit about IXL B1, which was homework, and we're going to go over and discuss a little bit adding integers. That's what we're going to start on, and then there's some IXL topics for us to discuss, and I'll show you some examples of those as well. And then very last but not least, there's a lesson checkpoint that will also give you an opportunity to reflect a little bit on learning this way and help me as a teacher hopefully become better at teaching this way, because this is something that's new for all of us. So we hop over to IXL here. We were working on B1, understanding integers. It's some pretty straightforward stuff where you're just sort of turning math words into math numbers and letters. So we're sort of looking at this example of like 9 more inches of snow compared to last year. Well, that's going to be a gain of 9. That's going to be a positive number. You can see my mouse wasn't playing nice, so I had to use my fingers there. But okay, same exact thing. You all did really well with that. In fact, everybody that did do it, I think got 100 on it, so they maxed it out pretty quickly, which is what I thought it would happen. But if we go into not just turning integers into math words and symbols, but working with them, we have to start looking at how to add integers. So if we're looking at an example of addition problem, this is IXL C4. I'm actually going to have you start with C3, but I want to talk about C4 real quick first. So we'll just go right into an example. First, on IXL, you can see at the top there, you can learn with an example or watch a tutorial. That is something that you can do through Safari if you're logged in IXL. I'm not 100% sure it's on the app. But anyway, the basic thing with adding integers when you have like a positive and a negative number is you have to start looking at, okay, do I have more negative stuff or do I have more positive stuff? And if you have more positive stuff, your answer is going to be positive. If you have more negative stuff, your answer is going to be negative. So the basic gist is that you just look at like, what do I have more of? Do I have more negative or more positive? So in this case, I've got more negative, so my answer is going to be negative. But I also have an addition problem that's not really an addition problem. It's actually sort of a subtraction problem. If I have different signs, I have a positive and a negative, I have to first look at, do I have more positive, more negative stuff? That helps me figure out if my answer is positive or negative. Then I subtract the two numbers, like I did right here. I had negative 4 and I had positive 3. 4 minus 3 gave me an answer of 1. Now in this example, I have 4 plus negative 1. So again, I ask myself, do I have more positive stuff or more negative stuff? In this case, the 4 is bigger, so I have more positive stuff. So my answer is going to be positive, but I still have to do a little subtraction here because I have different signs. So 4 plus negative 1, well, I actually have to take 4 minus 1. That would, of course, give me 3. But is it a positive 3 or is it a negative 3? Well, since 4 is a positive number and it's larger, my answer is going to be positive, so my answer for this one would be positive 3. Now when you type it into IXL, you don't have to do a positive sign. You have to give it a plus sign. Just type 3 in there, and that'll be good. Okay. Now if we go back and we talk a little bit about C3, this is actually the one I want you to start with. And this is going to reinforce that idea I was talking about, being able to determine if your answer is going to be positive or negative. So here we have negative 3 plus a positive 6. So the answer is a positive or negative? Well, again, just ask yourself, do I have more positive stuff or more negative stuff? Is the 3 bigger or is the 6 bigger? What has the bigger absolute value there? In this case, 6 has the bigger absolute value, so my answer is going to be positive. Hopefully you understand the gist of that. I'm not going to go on and on and on and on, but your goal should be to work on IXL C3 and C4, get to 70% or 15 minutes, pretty much whichever one you hit first. Then when you're done, please go into the lesson checkpoint in today's folder. This isn't an extra thing for you to do. It's not really a math question. All this is an opportunity for you to reflect. So I want you to talk about one thing that went really well for you in pre-alg and one thing that was sort of a struggle for you in pre-alg. And there's not really a right or wrong answer here. It's multiple choice. It's just each selection is a different part of class, a different factor of, learning online today. So please just reflect for me about what you think went really well today and what do you think was a struggle. And that'll help me as a teacher sort of figure out what to do next. So if you have me for ELA as well, I'm going to go into that shortly right here. So in the ELA class, I have the exact same folder. You see Thursday, September 2nd, that's today. I have the same exact page about Zoom information. That includes a link to my Zoom meeting, which hopefully I'll see some of you at shortly, and then a lesson overview. So the lesson overview page should look the same. Obviously the stuff is different though because it's ELA class. So we're going to meet hopefully. We're going to go over procedures for your Word Nerd document. And then we're going to do a little bit of Word Nerd research. And then hopefully you also have time on your own to do a little independent reading. And that's the goal here. Now if you remember, the Word Nerd document is actually back in this marking period 1 folder under assignments, and it's in that assignment that says Word Nerd 100 marking period 1. If you open your document, you should hopefully see at the top your Word Nerd words, or at least the first one we did together. Or you'll have different ones, but we've done that in class. So if you go down to the class word list, you'll see number 6 was filled out as an example, tentative. I have the definition there, not certain or fixed, may not happen. I literally just copied and pasted that from Google. You can do the exact same thing. What really is the important part is the example, where you use either a sentence or a picture that sort of illustrates, shows me that you know or understand what that word means. So the goal for today is going to be to define and use the next 4 words. We have elective, Siberia, conviction, and then sheepishly. And actually, I'm going to talk about number 7 right now. We can just do that. So I want to show you what it looks like on an iPad to do this. So you go back to Safari, or open Safari, depending on whatever you're doing. We'll open a new tab there. And if you type in, remember I showed you in class about doing this, you type in the word and then definition. So we look at elective, and then definition. We follow it with the word definition. There'll be a dictionary definition actually right there in the top result. If I click on that, this little pop-up comes up, which is cool because it gives me a definition, but I actually can't really select or copy or paste from this. So if we're looking at the definitions, there's using as an adjective. I look at those 2 adjective definitions. They don't really tell me what the word means. But the noun definition here, if I use elective like a noun, I know that an elective is an optional course of study. Okay, that's awesome. So I'm going to go back in there and hit enter, and this is the page that comes up. It's the exact same information, but now I can select stuff, I can copy it, and I can go back into my Word Nerd document and paste it right in there. Look, right there. I didn't type anything. I just copied and pasted for my definition, an optional course of study. Where I want to use it as an example, that's where you're showing me, that's where your brain is working and you're really showing me you understand what it means. So if I'm using elective like a noun, an optional course of study, I might say something like, well, the class on how to kickflip a skateboard is an elective. Okay, and I'm going to add an elective that is not required for graduation. That's a great sentence because that shows me I know that an elective is an optional course of study. It means it's something that's not required. Okay, So now what I want you to do is the next three, basically Siberia, conviction, sheepishly. Do them just like I did there. Once you finish those three words, please go back into our class on Schoology. There we go. So head back into today's folder, the Remote Learning Day folder, and complete this lesson checkpoint. And it'll be exactly like the one in Pre-Algebra class, except now obviously you're reflecting on ELA. If you get those all done, that's awesome. If you don't get some of them done, that's okay. We'll talk about it in class tomorrow. If you have questions, comments, concerns, struggles, please send me an email. All my contact info is in both the course syllabus that I gave you at the beginning of the year and on Schoology. Good luck, everybody.